Welcome to this episode of YouTube where winter is in full force here in Ely, Minnesota. 2 nights ago it was 29 below air temperature. Today the wind chill is even lower. So wolves are pretty adapted to this weather. You can see, first of all, their coat system. They've got a very dense undercoat that sits below guard hairs, and those guard hairs are insulating and protects their body from that heat from escaping. So you can see snow just sits right on top of their guard hairs. Certainly increased activity in food consumption is important to maintain their calorie input as they head into winter. As a matter of fact, winter is their most active time of the year. Not like bears that may hibernate. Wolves are very, very active. And so is wolf care staff, making sure gates open, making sure that the wheelbarrow gets in for the carcass delivery, that certainly that we can maneuver around the facility and take care of things as needed. Rika's pretty curious about that stuff as a young pup. It's a little bit of entertainment for her. Certainly tools can be a little problematic. Metal and tongues can be a problem, but we are working with that. You notice a difference in the way the adults act, though. They're a little bit more neophobic. I mean, this is something, we shovel every winter, yet it's still a little bit new to them, and so they're a little bit more cautious, whereas Rika's just gets right in the middle of the wolf care staff work. And so we also see, again, that sometimes the adults can help intervene, and they can block Rika from the wolf care staff and easily distract her. Not only do we feed thawed meat, but we also throw out some of these frozen chunks because it keeps them occupied while we're trying to get a little bit of work done. So you might notice in this facial expression that Rika has what we call a direct stare, and Axel responds with an avert gaze, meaning not wanting to engage in her a little bit of a test or a possession over that carcass. Winter can make wolves a little bit more tense with each other, and certainly you may be seeing that if you're watching the cameras. The colder it is, the hungrier they can get, and sometimes they can take it out on each other. And I guess Rika is a young pup. She is trying to figure out her way in the pack, but there is clearly a difference between how she interacts with Axel and how she interacts with Grayson. This clip here shows a greeting, and Grayson is typically resting where Rika is. Here we see a nose-to-nose, muzzle-licking greeting between Grayson and Rika. So that has been something that we've been kind of watching. We know as she matures, she'll be 8 months old on Sunday. And we know that eventually she's going to pair bond with one of these two males and be the pack leaders for the next generation of wolves. This was on the 20th, Thursday morning, a little after 6 in the morning, where we see Rika and Grayson, who clearly had been resting together, getting up, and who knows what stimulated them to show some interest. But go back and do what's called a curl rest. And I talked about that before. A curl rest, especially these ambient temperatures that are so cold, allows them to tuck their nose and their paws under their tail. You see a little bit of a response here from Grayson as Axel comes up, and Axel starts posturing over Rika. Grayson gives a little bit of a bark, which is, again, a threat display as Axel tries to posture over Rika. Even though she may be doing some testing of Axel and other interactions, she's allowing Grayson to kind of handle this. And certainly we watch that a lot on camera. When things get a little bit intense for her, she definitely lets Grayson intervene, or even looks to Grayson to get in the middle of it. We don't really know what was causing a lot of that stimulus, but it led to some howling. Over in retirement, Grizzly's doing great. Again, having that opportunity for this transition area fully enclosed, no snow, full of hay. He chooses to lie in the sun, and actually on this day he got too warm laying in the hay in the sun, so he moved out of the sun into the shade a little bit. Notice the ravens are working on his deer leg that is fed and left over. But it doesn't take very long for Grizzly to figure out that the ravens are onto his food and get up and come around the back door and be able to reclaim his deer leg. So those are all good indications that he's aware of his surroundings. He's definitely comfortable, has a few moments of cold feet, and when he lies down too long on the den in the back, his legs get a little stiff and it takes him a little while to move around. We are keeping that east side closed right now. Snow depth is getting deeper and the cold is just more problematic. We don't want him to flounder kind of in the back. So even Grizzly, who's seen 17 winters, says, aren't we supposed to have a January thaw by now? That's something we're all waiting for, is the January thaw. So see you next time.